Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and week 5 of the NFL season is here. We've got some great games ahead of us, and we are talking the quarterback position to help you guys get the right player in your lineup to have some success for this week. So let's jump into it. Again, week 5 is here. We are talking quarterback, and it has been a very interesting season so far of how quarterbacks have been able to play. You've got some of your best players in the NFL who are underperforming, like Patrick Mahomes, but then you've got some quarterbacks who are kind of journeymen, like Sam Darnold, who's been fantastic this season. So a lot of great stuff, but I want to get you guys ready and prepared for this week. Now, these are your obvious starts at the quarterback position. I don't have a huge list here. It's kind of tough because this week is very challenging. There's some great quarterbacks this week, and there are definitely some quarterbacks I like, but there's some big names I'm going to have as some sits, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. Now, there are some teams on buys. You've got the Eagles, Titans, all right? You also have the Lions and the Chargers, so 4 teams are not playing this week. It is the first round of the bye week. It's kind of early, I feel. I do feel terrible for those players who really got a month in, and then now they've got a long season ahead of them, but again, bye week is here. Now, the first quarterback I'm going to mention as a good start this week is going to be Anthony Richardson versus the Jaguars. Barring any injury setback, Richardson should get the start. Now, Flacco filled in very nicely after Richardson went down, and honestly, the offense boomed. And I think realistically, a lot of people probably want Joe Flacco as the quarterback because Michael Pittman looked great, Josh Downs looked great. I mean, the offense completely changed. With that said, that is not going to happen if Richardson does play. So keep an eye on it. Now, if Richardson does not play, then I would obviously put Flacco as a good start as well. Richardson does have some passing concerns. So, and realistically, his rushing upside hasn't been there. But I have a gut feeling that this week is going to be great for him. With that said, this is a great matchup against a division rival where the Jaguars have allowed 6 passing touchdowns in the last 2 games alone. They're allowing over 22 fantasy points per game. And Richardson just needs this game to be like the game for him. If he does not have success against the Jaguars this week, he is going to be the number 1 player dropped to waivers. Absolutely. I mean, I'm already starting to see it. I have a lot of people in the comments, on X and everything just asking about Richardson and what to do with him. This is going to be the week that he has to have success, and I think it's going to happen this week. Now, another quarterback I really love this week is going to be Trevor Lawrence versus the Colts, keeping it in the divisional game. Colts have not been great against the pass, and they're allowing a lot of points to them. Plus, they're also losing, unfortunately, defensive linemen left and right, which is obviously going to allow teams to have some success because they're not getting pressured as much. Now, Lawrence has not played very well this season. He's currently averaging only 12 points a game, and he's currently quarterback 20 for the season so far. Colts have allowed an average of 20 points per game. They're also allowing 257 passing yards as well. Lawrence should get Evan Ingram back this week. We'll see how things play out. But him and the connection between Christian Kirk has started to develop. I still love the rookie Brian Thomas Jr. I'd love to see him get implemented and involved a lot more. And realistically, get Gabe Davis in there. I know Gabe Davis has his up and downs, but they have not even tried to get him involved in this offense. This is a very talented team. They're just not playing up to their standard. And unfortunately, it's kind of showing. But I do like Trevor Lawrence this week a lot. Another quarterback I like this week is going to be Brock Purdy versus the Cardinals. Purdy comes into week 5 as quarterback 13 this season so far. He's averaging 16 points a game and just really hasn't found his 2023 form at all. Like, he was almost MVP last season. Obviously, Lamar ended up taking it, but Purdy has had some issues. And a lot of it I will contribute is due to injuries. He hasn't had Deebo Samuel most of the season. He hasn't had Kittle. He obviously hasn't had Christian McCaffrey. And I know Jordan Mason has filled in really well, and he's done a great job, but realistically, Christian McCaffrey does a lot more than just rushing the ball. He brings a big factor to this offense. With that said, though, I will say this. Purdy will have Kittle, he will have Deebo, and he will have Ayuk against the Cardinals this week, who are allowing 19 points a game and just over 200 passing yards. This is a divisional game, and this is a game where I think Purdy could be top 5, even top 8 in this fantasy week. I think he's going to have a strong outing. I rank him really high this week. And the last quarterback I'm going to mention as a good start is going to be Kirk Cousins versus the Bucs. This is going to be the Thursday night matchup. So the Kirk Cousins experiment really hasn't been great so far. Cousins really is currently at quarterback 26 right now. Understand there's 32 teams. He's quarterback 26. He's only averaging 10 points per game. The connection between him and London and Kyle Pitts really just haven't developed yet. And sometimes that does take time. We're a month in now. That's got to change. So week 5 is here, and I think that may help him. He's going, against a Bucs pass defense that has struggled recently. Bucs are allowing 18 points a game. And this is going to be a game I think that the Bucs offensively are so good that they're going to force the Falcons to continue to pass, which again, in fantasy, that's all that matters. I'm not saying Falcons are going to win this game, even though they could. I still think just because the offense is going to be forced to pass, I think this will be a game that Kirk Cousins has some success. Now, jumping into the sit category, again, I have some big names in here. The first quarterback I'm going to mention is going to be Sam Darnold versus the Jets. Yes, we are talking like one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy at this point. He was quarterback 1, but then Jaden Daniels had some success, and of course, he's getting up there. So is Lamar. But Sam Darnold's done an amazing job. He's leading the league in passing touchdowns. Now, he's going against a Jets defense that really worries me. They're playing in London, so this is going to be a nice little early game on Sunday. And with that said, I think, honestly, defenses travel a lot better than offenses, and I think I give this edge to the Jets defense. Even though the Jets as a team have not played well, the Jets are allowing the fewest passing yards, only 150 yards per game, and they've only allowed 2 touchdowns so far to the quarterback. So realistically, this is a game that Jets could really have a strong defensive game, and this is going to be that game that everyone's like, oh, is Sam Darnold back to being with the way he was? I don't think so. I think Darnold does have a solid season. I just think this matchup is just not a great one for him. I love the offensive weapons with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and obviously TJ Hawkinson's going to be back sooner than we expect. But right now, I'm going to sit Sam Darnold. Now, the first big name I'm going to mention as a sit, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes versus the Saints. Yeah, I said it. Patrick Mahomes. It is what it is. Saints have been great against quarterbacks this season so far. They've only allowed 10 points per game and 1 passing touchdown so far. That's it. 1 touchdown in 4 games. In the 4 games, they've also have created 6 interceptions. So they're doing a really good job defensively. Now, they do allow a decent amount of yards, about 250 passing yards per game. So they're really a good bend yet not break defense. And let's be honest, Patrick Mahomes is coming into a week where he doesn't have some of his best weapons. He's going to be throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster. Obviously, Kelsey is still there. He's got Xavier Worthy. But that's what you're looking at. Rashee Rice, nothing has official been posted. I mean, right now they're still looking to see what's going on, and nothing bad, at least horrible yet, but we do all expect him to be out for the season. But this is a really tough matchup, and right now, Patrick Mahomes has been quarterback 16 for the season so far. Even though he's been considered one of the top players in the league, this just has not been it, even though their team is still winning. As far as fantasy goes, I'm going to sit Patrick Mahomes. Another quarterback I'm going to sit, it's going to be Dak Prescott versus the Steelers. And I hate to say it because as much as I don't want to put Dak on here, he's one, again, he's quarterback 7 for the season so far, and he's done fairly well with what he's got. I'm nervous for this Sunday night matchup. Pittsburgh has been great against the pass, only allowing 197 yards a game and 11 points per game. They also have done an amazing job creating turnovers. And honestly, with CeeDee Lamb really being the only offensive weapon that Dak can throw to, I mean, Ferguson's good, but CeeDee Lamb is the guy. I do expect them to have Joey Porter Jr. on him, and I do expect them to kind of double him up with Fitzpatrick in the backfield, or even, Elliott as well. Like, they're going to double team him. And I just feel like it's going to put Dak in some uncomfortable positions, and I think he may make some bad decisions in this game. I do think this is a tough matchup for the Cowboys against the Steelers. Obviously they don't have some of their defensive players as well, so I'm nervous putting Dak Prescott in. And the last quarterback I'm going to mention as a sit, it's going to be Kyler Murray versus the 49ers. Like I said, I've had a lot of big names this week I'm not really sold on. The 49ers defense hasn't been as dominant like its dominant self in the past, like it has last season and the year before that. But they're still really good against the pass, holding quarterbacks to 215 yards a game and only 13 points per game. And in the last 2 games, they held quarterbacks to 10 points a game. And right now, Kyler Murray has not been amazing. He had a bad game against the Commanders defense that has been really bad. Commanders defense are allowing 2.5 touchdowns per game. And Kyler Murray did not look great. And some of it is, I think they're still trying to figure out, the connection between him and Marvin Harrison Jr. I do like the receivers they have in Dortch and Michael Wilson, and I do like Connor. But there's something about it that I think it's just Murray is not an amazing elite passing quarterback. He does make big plays, and he does obviously have some great rushing upside. So he's still somebody you may want to consider. But this is a really tough matchup against the 49ers, especially a divisional matchup. I'm going to lean 49ers in this one. I think they're going to have a better success, and I think Kyler Murray struggles. Now, my sleeper for the week is going to be Deshaun Watson versus the Commanders. Crazy, right? Like Deshaun Watson. But it's a lot has to do with the matchup. Like I mentioned, the Commanders are allowing 2.5 passing touchdowns per game. And they're going to have to keep up with that offense. The Jaden Daniels quarterback play, I mean, he has been amazing. And that offense is almost scoring just about every drive. They're not punting. They're scoring. They're getting field goals. Like, the Browns are going to have to keep up. Now, this is going to be a good matchup against the Browns. The Browns defense is obviously still really good. They have not been up to the standard they were last season, but I think it would be a good test for Jaden Daniels. I still think Jaden Daniels is an obvious start this week. But I like Deshaun Watson as a nice little sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for the quarterback position for week 5. If you guys do have questions for your lineup, hit me up in the comments down below. I'd love to help you guys out. And of course, if you have trade questions or anything else, I'd be able to help you guys. Hit me in the comments or follow me on X as well. You can always ask questions there. Again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll check you guys out next time.